Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, we're live now. So.
Well, no, I should be ready now.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. We're doing this.
All right. Welcome everybody to Political Theater with Dr. T and our guest, Dr. H. We have upgraded him, and he is now occasional podcast partner.
Just say it.
Just give him some props.
Breathe it in. Breathe it in. Let's all just feel it.
Yeah, whatever.
We're official. We're official out here.
I'm getting us set up on Instagram. He's going to kick us off today. So why don't you hop in and be a partner? Right?
Be a partner on the show?
Sure.
Yes. Sure. I'm going to talk about Lincoln Heights, Ohio. A story.
Why are you talking about that, though? Why
so near and dear to my heart? Because it literally happened within miles of where I live. And it involves my fair city. I'm in Cincinnati, Ohio. Not today. Today I'm in Oxford, Ohio, but I live in Cincinnati, Ohio, where just over a week ago, on the 7th of February, a group of neo-Nazis hopped out of a U-Haul while masked up and carrying guns and decided to stand on an overpass and chant hate rhetoric, hate slurs, and pretty much promote their particular brand of hate speech. There's some people that say they got a police escort to do that. Some people said the police were just there to make sure the public was safe. But some footage has come out that shows police might have driven them up and driven them away. They don't know where the U-Haul came from that they were in. Like, there's a lot of police incompetence that seems to be unfolding around this story. But what we do know is a bunch of neo-Nazis showed up in my city, and some people came to drive them out. And those people in particular were the Black people of Lincoln Heights, a historically Black neighborhood in Cincinnati, where they were not about that life. They decided to come out themselves armed and angry. The police ended up protecting the protester. They ended up protecting the Nazis more from the protesters. If you look at the optics, it felt as if they were helping the Nazis get out of the spot a little more readily than they were the protesters who were trying to drive them out. But they were allowed to get back to their car. One Jeep owned by the Nazis was, busted up a little bit. But there's been a lot of talk since. It's ended up being like this kind of, it's one of the things that really annoys me the most about when these incidents happen. Like, racism is a thing that's hard to talk about in America unless somebody is overtly racist. It's not a problem until only the overtly racist show up, and then everybody jumps in solidarity. Like, look, we did it, Cincinnati, we drove them out. But like, it was the Black people who drove them out. White people did not. Right. White people drove right on by, saw it unfolding, and didn't do anything really to stop it. Some showed up in the midst of it, but it was largely a Black group that drove them out.
Can we show some footage?
Absolutely. Show the footage.
Tonight,
roll that beautiful
new video
footage.
Just released by Evendale Police shows the moments an officer interacted with a neo-Nazi group after that demonstration over 75 near Lincoln Heights.
There's been a lot of discussion, obviously, about this incident since it happened 11 days ago on February 7th. So you're about to see the officer on the overpass first ordering the white supremacist group to get into the U-Haul and leave the bridge when counter-protesters then arrive. So about 5 minutes later, you could see the same officer walk up to the U-Haul outside of a Laughlin local schools building shortly before kids were about to be released from class that day. Here's the exchange now between the Evendale officer and the neo-Nazi group in the U-Haul, and the one man not wearing a mask you're about to see asking if he can go back and pick up his service dog where the protest happened on the overpass on 75.
We're trying to figure out a plan to get that.
Yeah, I don't know if we've got to get him an Uber or something. That's probably the best bet, I guess. And I don't think anybody knows about
There's a
They
dog.
can't watch the
If
goddamn
the dog
dog.
in there is cool with, if the dog is in there is cool with me driving it to you guys, I can go and get it. But there's a dog in there. I don't know.
Yeah, we need to get it.
He's my service animal. That's why I really need to get
Fucking believable.
Here,
Get your mask on. Let's go.
I'm sorry. Did they just say that that they were trying to find a dog, and that's why they were doing this?
What?
Did I just hear that correctly?
What? A dog? What are you talking? What?
I'm sorry.
Someone might have had a service dog. Service dog?
So the
Someone
whole
might have lost a
U-Haul,
service dog.
Okay. You know what? Okay, let's keep going.
Just take take that black that shirt off, and you can get my car.
Cool, thank you,
And
brother.
then if I got in the driver's seat of the car, would the dog bite me? You think? No. Okay.
No. He's a good dog. He'll sniff you to death.
You make sure you got your keys. Hey,
Yeah, I got the.
you guys have? Are you guys done?
Yeah, we're done.
There's no other.
We're just trying to go get the dog and get the Jeep, and then we're out there.
my
We're
God.
Let's go grab it.
Well, no. So okay, now I see what's happening.
Yeah, and I didn't see the comments, dude. We need to leave. Like,
What's
forever ago.
happening, Doc?
Okay, so what's happening is while they were on the bridge, someone lost a service dog. That's what seems like it's unfolding from what I can tell
Oh
here.
my God.
They also left the Jeep behind because those people were not letting them go back to their other vehicle. And so he was asking the officers help. And look how friendly and helpful he's being. And the officer's going to help him go back and pick up his dog and get to the Jeep and just be so polite and so helpful to these terrorists. Just gonna make sure everybody gets out safely and make sure that everybody's okay.
What?
You know, wouldn't want there to be any problems. Wouldn't want you to
I'm
not have
sorry.
your dog.
I just gotta say, if there was a U-Haul filled with black men dressed in all black with masks and everything, talking about they're retrieving a service dog,
Yes.
do we really think there?
Yes.
Do we think there wouldn't be 20 squad cars within 30 seconds?
Well, notice how like there was such a small police presence. Because I mean,
Oh my God.
why would you think these nice white men were going to cause any problems? Why would you think there were going to be
Absolutely.
any?
The cops are always in on it. That's what they do. It's funny because one of my classes, I teach African American history, and we're talking about Reconstruction and development of like slave patrols and all that kind of stuff like that. And I'm telling them, like, my students are seeing very clearly the origins of United States policing. I just don't understand.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I want to bring in a little bit more weird
Okay.
history with
Give us some weird history. Everybody
weird
that's just
history.
joining
Weird
in.
history of Cincinnati.
And for
There's
people
a
that are
reason
hold
that-
on one second.
Go ahead.
For people that are just joining in, Dr. Hall, we're letting him stay, or whatever. And
I'm on the show.
he's from Cincinnati.
Yes.
And this is where this Nazi march was taking place. And so I'm letting him talk more because
Thank
he's
you.
giving us some context
I
about
opened
what
the show.
happened there. He
Yes.
opened the show.
Yes. So having lived in Cincinnati since the 90s, I am very familiar with the fact that Cincinnati has a racist history that it likes to ignore. It is a city that was at some point almost 50-50 white and black in population. And yet there was always significant disparities in the wealth and access given to African Americans. It's one of those cities where, they literally ripped the city in half with the highways, and just somehow the black neighborhood was the one that had to go with the highway and be otherwise subjugated. And if you were in Cincinnati in the early 90s and before, and you were on our Fountain Square, which is our main like middle of the city draw, you would see a cross that was put there by the KKK. So the KKK would put on their robes and their masks and would march with on horseback and with bells and everything and make all this noise. And they would bring a cross to share with the people of Cincinnati for the Christmas holiday. And it would be there all Christmas. And if you were to do something to that cross, you'd be considered vandalizing that cross. If they were to set it on fire in their own time, like that's what they get to do. But like, if you were to do that while it was on Fountain Square, you'd be considered a vandal. And so weirdly enough, Cincinnati has this history of being like right there on the Underground Railroad. If you crossed over the river, you would be considered on your way to freedom, if not free. There's a host of like historical issues around that. But like the KKK and Nazi groups and like that, they've always been kind of in the fabric of the city. Another big incident in the history of Cincinnati that I can point to before I wrap all this up is in 2001, we had I'm sorry. I'm in full historian mode. In 2001, we had a whole like race riot that happened because a young man named Timothy Thomas was shot in the back while running from police officers because he had a number of small misdemeanor warrants. And the police just started chasing him in the neighborhood of OTR. That led to several riots. And what ended up happening was the officer who shot him in the back was named Officer Roach. And within a year of being fired from or resigning, however he left the main police department, he was hired again within the year by the Evendale Police Department, the same police department that might be just politely escorting neo-Nazis to go get their service dog and make sure everybody gets out. Okay, want to make sure they're all safe. Going to put them in a school parking lot with their guns and illegally in the back of trucks and just make sure that they're all right. We just might want to make sure everybody gets home safe. Just want to make sure everybody has a nice. It was just a pleasant outing, just a nice afternoon. They were just out for terrorism.
Right. No. So terrorism is the American way of being. Okay.
I mean, since the birth of the nation.
True. All right.
The double entendre.
We done talked about your area.
Yes.
We're gonna talk about mine now.
Let's leave the Midwest.
Let's talk about Eric Adams. Oh my goodness. All right, I got footage.
Thank you for those who are letting me stay. I think I'm doing okay today. I'm not stepping on any toes.
All right, so Eric Adams. Let's watch this clip real quick because this is the weirdest shit I've ever seen. Just so you know, I hate this man with a fire.
Gets down. Everybody gets down.
Oh God!
Hear bad news. Strengthen him.
Look at how sparse that audience
Simply
is.
remind him that I didn't bring you through all I brought you through.
You had got to be.
Thank you, Lord.
I hate him.
Thank you, Lord. We thank you in advance for the victory of.
Look at the rabbi in the back, the imams. He got everybody. Okay.
Loves a good photo op, Eric Adams.
Love a good photo op. So for those who don't know, you got a lot of ones. People say they stay. So Eric
a lot
Adams.
more ones. I haven't got any twos yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Eric Adams is the mayor of New York City. And Eric Adams is the mayor of New York City. And he's as corrupt as they come, right? He's a Republican cop.
I mean,
I'm
it's a
just
high
trying
bar
to
to be the
understand.
corruptest mayor of New York City.
I don't understand.
That's a high bar.
Generally, like, I don't understand how Black people get into positions of power, and to be a mayor is a pretty big deal, especially a mayor of a larger city, things like that.
Yes.
We have seen so many mayors: Chicago, DC, Atlanta, New York, Newark, like Baltimore. These Black folks get into these positions of power. Oh, Philadelphia. Let's not forget Sherelle Parker, who get into these positions of power and become so corrupted by it, right? And just are not remembering how they got there, right? And they fall right into the political bullshit. They fall right into the corruption. But we know that Eric Adams, he's a Republican cop. And he ran as a Democrat because there was an opening, right? And we know that in cities like New York and Philadelphia, generally the Democratic person will win. You know, the person who wins the primary will likely win. I know in Philadelphia, that's a big thing. Sherelle Parker won the primary with less than 200,000 votes and pretty much secured her position. She's also a Republican, and I call her Erica Adams because she acts just like him. So Eric Adams was being prosecuted. Well, he had been indicted on like criminal charges of like bribery and campaign fraud and all these kinds of things. And because they don't want New York City to be a sanctuary city, allegedly, let me put the banner up. Allegedly, according to the resignation letter by Danielle Sussman, I talked about that the last time, y'all. Danielle Sussman, we talked about that. There was an offer, a quid pro quo offer, that if he agrees to, if he agrees to work with,
scratch my back, I'll scratch yours.
Right. If he agrees to work with the DOJ to help with getting rid of undocumented people, then they will drop the charges. And Danielle was like, absolutely not. We're not doing this, especially because she's conservative and she's a white woman. I didn't want to get too much into the racial dynamics, but she was not about to let that nigga free. So anyway, and he's invoking some of that as well, which like really bothers me. I'm just trying to understand that. But anyway, and so she resigned. And a lot of people have resigned. Not only did 7 people, like federal folks, resign, 4 of his top aides, the top people that work with him, also resigned. And so the governor, I think it's Katie Hochul, whatever, however you pronounce her name, I don't fucking know. People were coming to her like, yo, we need to get rid of this nigga, like he's whack, whatever. And so that was on the table. But what happened? Well, she said, we're not gonna do that. We're gonna watch him closely. I mean, you put the link in the docket. Why don't you talk about it?
Why don't I talk about it?
Well, no, okay. So listen, I'm from New York City.
That's gonna say.
Y'all may not know that. I'm originally from New York City. I spent
the accent isn't giving away.
It only comes out.
The occasional drop into the New York accent.
It only comes out when I have been drinking. I like to think that I have a standard Northeastern accent, which works well for a public speaker. But anyway, so his dumb ass was really on some old like bullshit, and then she was just like, well, we gonna let him rock, but we gonna monitor him. We're gonna put some guardrails in place. And everybody's kind of calling for his head, like, yo. And so I know he's only gonna be a one-term person because New Yorkers are fed up. New Yorkers are like, nah, we're not doing this. So he's pretty much out the door. I'm not even worried about that. But also, it's fuck Eric Adams around here. We don't like him around here. We don't do Eric Adams. Chat, have you heard about that? Do y'all know about Eric Adams and this bullshit? That's a good question. Is it even possible for a politician to not be corrupt? No.
I mean, not the easiest thing.
No. You know what? The mayor of Baltimore, he seemed cool. That young guy. He seemed pretty cool. We rock with him.
There you go.
Yeah. Oh, you said it comes out when I call people stupid. They dumb as shit.
It does. See, there it is. There it is. There it is right there. That's very New York.
What? What? All right. Anyway, so we're switching gears. DEI in higher ed. So this has been a big thing, and we're both educators. Well, you got out of the academy. You want to take a minute? And
I've left the academy.
Because I asked him one time, I was like, have you ever taught? Like, whatever. And he was like, yeah. And then he was talking about it, and he did not have the best experiences. Why aren't you a teacher anymore, Dr. Hall?
So one, it doesn't pay enough.
Your light went out. Your light went out. Stop. Your light went out.
My light went out? Oh, hold on.
You done lost all your lighting. There we go.
Sorry.
Were you trying to do that? Did I just thwart your attempt at having a spotlight?
I don't know.
Okay.
Anyway,
why did you leave?
I worked for 8 years as a counselor at Miami University Student Counseling Center. I taught for 3 years as an adjunct for both UC, and I never officially taught for Miami. I've done some pickup classes there. So I'm deeply entrenched in the university system. Spent most of my life in the university system in some capacity or another. I have a lot of bitterness and resentment.
It's okay.
Huh?
Nothing. Keep going.
I have a lot of bitterness and resentment for the university system because academia is a farce and often touts itself very highly as being so enlightened. But really, it's a lot of people worried every day about getting sued for something by some outside entity. And very often it can feel like it's not really about educating your children. It's instead about making sure that administrators can get paid and football coaches can get paid and be the highest paid person in a state. But what's unfolding now is DEI is under attack because the Republicans won a bunch of elections and feel that that's a referendum on their values around eliminating what they call free speech being under attack by diversity, equity, and inclusion. They don't like the idea that they have to correct themselves when speaking to brown people and think about how they speak to brown people. So instead of continue self-reflecting in any way, they're going to remove it from college curriculums. They're going to legislate DEI out of all agencies, out of higher ed. There could be no programming directed to any single racial or ethnic group. There could be no scholarships for any racial or ethnic group. They're going to try and essentially eliminate that. And in my own state, once again, to bring it back to Ohio, because why not? We're passing Senate Bill 1, which the state is trying to legislate to make sure that diversity, equity, nor inclusion can be included in any college level anything. And it's like, how do you legislate that? Like, are you reading everybody's syllabuses? You're going to create jobs around reading syllabi and judging every group that gets made on a campus just to make sure. Like, what? Like, who's policing that? Why would you do? Why do you have the time?
You seem really activated by this.
I am very active. Like, if you want to see me rant for like 20 minutes, like,
yeah,
let me think what I know. Like,
we actually don't.
The University of Cincinnati, where I graduated, where I got the PhD that is hanging on the wall to the left of me, came from the University of Cincinnati.
Hey.
A college that the guy, John McMicken, when he gave the college the land, he said, I want to make sure this school is here so that white children could be educated forever. Like,
wow.
It's in the charter for the school. It was created and founded on white supremacy. So the idea that we all know that the people who are going to college, mostly white kids, mostly white women, white men ain't going in the same numbers that they used to, unfortunately, that most of our STEM programs are full of minorities and international students because Americans ain't learning STEM like we need to. And yet there's this need to like attack these groups who've been farly marginalized when it comes to their access to education. You want to take away whatever little bit they have. I'm in a city that's 48% Black, but only 13% of us go to college. And that's like big numbers.
Okay, I want to move us forward.
Sorry.
That's okay.
My apology. Oh, God, I wasn't even paying attention to the chat. I'm not taking over there. You let me go. You said, hey, run freestallion. And I was like, I'm going to do it. My apologies.
Okay. So I actually just wanted to bring up, so the USDA 1890 Scholars Program is a longstanding grant program funded by the United States Department of Agriculture. And the point of the program, the Scholars Program, is to provide financial support to students from rural areas and disenfranchised areas to study things like agriculture, farming tech, agricultural technology, things like that, to help improve the agriculture, right? And this money goes to students that attend 19 land grants. I want you all to see this line right here. The 1890 Scholars Program has been suspended, pending further review.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It's hard for me to talk about this stuff. If you see the schools that are affected, right? They have awarded 94 scholarships in fiscal year 2024. Alabama A&M, Delaware State, Florida A&M, Lincoln University, North Carolina A&T, Tennessee State. And they owe Tennessee State so much damn money. Virginia State. These are primarily historically Black colleges and universities. Now, land grant colleges and universities are all across the country, and they're not all HBCUs. Some of them are tribal, some of them are Hispanic serving, and some of them mostly white people go to, right? These are the areas that people were studying: agriculture, business and management, animal sciences, botany, food sciences, horticulture, all those kinds of things, right? This scholarship was one that Black students would apply to, all students would apply to, right? But we know that by and large, HBCUs are attended primarily by African American and other people of the African diaspora. Not because people can't attend them. Anybody can attend them. In fact, Bluefield is like 90% white now. West Virginia State, I think, is like 40% white now. There's many schools that have a huge white population. And so they're historically Black colleges, universities, meant that they were created to serve the needs of African American students, right? But anyone can attend them. And I started looking at the demographics of a lot of them, and a lot of them are like 10% Asian, right? So it's like people are going to colleges. And I also want to remind people that, like, in the mid 20th century, we had a lot of Jewish professors at HBCUs because Jewish people were coming over here after World War II, and the United States universities, the top schools wouldn't hire them. But you know who did? The HBCUs. And so they went in and they began to support, the education of African Americans, right? And other people of the African diaspora. Now, HBCUs continue to produce the largest numbers of Black educators, Black doctors, Black lawyers, etc. These are fine institutions. Do they have their issues? Of course they do, but all colleges have their issues, right? And we can rely on HBCUs to provide quality education for folks and to help send them on their way. Now, I have my own issues with HBCUs in the sense that I just think that they kind of need administrative overhauls, right? As a mother who has a kid who's applying and who's gotten into several of them, but they are a perfectly viable option for higher education for any student of any race or culture. So with that said, we see this as an attack on Black students, right? Never mind that it goes to students from rural, areas. So a white student from a rural area, a Native student, Indigenous student from a rural area could also qualify for this grant if they go to one of the land grant universities, colleges and universities that was listed. Boom. They suspended this. 94 students from last year decided to go to a school because they knew that they had the scholarship to go. They chose that school over maybe others because they got a full ride to go. And now it's been suspended. Mm-hmm. So what happens to all those students? Do they have to drop out? Many of them will. I would imagine the majority of them will have to drop out because their parents cannot afford it. Now, I can only hope. It's 94 students, and this is a hope that I know will not come into fruition. We have how many Black billionaires? All these people touting all this money.
I mean,
who could easily come in and write the checks.
I mean, if we're being honest, for 94 students across that many universities, the universities themselves could
do it.
Could
the
make
universities
sure
themselves.
They could make they got pockets of money to solve problems like this.
FAMU definitely has money. Out of all those schools that were listed, FAMU, NCA&T also, they could cover that, right? So I'm hoping that those students will be okay.
Yeah.
But I have to make that statement because if we're looking out for us, we're supposed to be. Oprah, Tyler Perry, Beyonce, Jay-Z, Rihanna, all these people could easily, with a check that is 2 tiers in a bucket for them, could cover 4 years of education for each of them. Why? Because these schools actually tend to be lower cost too.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. A lot of them are less than $30,000 a year compared to other schools that are $70,000, $80,000 a year.
Yeah.
So let's say, even if we said 30,000 times 4, that's 120,000 times 94. That's about $1.2 million.
It costs $19,000 a year to go to West Virginia State University.
At the upper end, $1.2 million. That's nothing. That's one stop on Cowboy Carter tour. You hear what I'm not that I'm like indicting Beyonce. I'm just trying to give you that, right? So at what point do we start thinking like that? Instead of all this crying and all this shit on Instagram and threads and all these things, we are just mad and whatever. When do we start calling on those among us that have the resources to do this, to save their lives? Now, Tyler Perry has paid for people to go to school. He has done that. Not going to take it away from him. I hate that man, but he has done that.
He doesn't pay for writers, but he does pay for people to go to school.
He does. And has he done enough? No, I don't think he's done enough. If you have $1 billion, you have not done enough.
Well,
but they could easily take care of this. Right?
Yeah.
And this is just folds into the larger issues with DEI in higher ed. Right? The attacks on DEI in higher ed.
Yeah.
Did you read the executive order?
I did not read the executive order yet. I tried and I can't. I get upset and I can't. My eyes
for
blur.
A quick summary, y'all. For a quick summary, let me tell you how evil this is. they know that they can only target schools that receive federal funding, right? So they want to take it a step further. And one, to get at the private schools, they're saying you can't have any club. They don't want them to have clubs or anything like that, and that they're making it illegal. They're saying we're making it illegal. Okay, so having an African American students club, a Black student union, a Hispanic student union, whatever, will technically, according to them, I mean, it's not going to happen, y'all. I just want everybody to know that's actually not going to happen. No judge worth their fucking license, bar, whatever the fuck is going to allow that. But if they had their way, if you're a private school and you have a club called the Black Student Union or the Latino Student Union, you would be breaking the law, right? Not only that, they're going after all the scholarships that have been designated under their DEI, right? They want to target scholarships from sororities and fraternities too. For example, I just let everybody know, self-disclosure, I sent a letter to the various D9 fraternities in my area, letting them know that I had a young Black man who's going to college and seeing if they had any scholarships, available that we could apply to or things like that. Because that's what all of them are about, scholarships. So they give out money. Essentially, if my kid receives scholarships from any of these organizations and he uses that money to go to a school that receives federal funding, that school will be held liable and it'll be considered illegal and they could risk losing their federal funding. Is this making sense to y'all? Is this making sense?
Through the lens of racism, makes perfect sense.
Right. But they're not stopping. And I want to take it a step further, y'all. So as somebody who has helped my son fill out these applications, the Common App, for example, you fill that out and you can send it to various schools. Because of the affirmative action thing that happens, a lot of the schools were opting. You get a notification saying this school has opted not to receive information about race, gender, social security number, address, etc., because they know that all of those things are things that can be used to determine someone's gender, location, etc., etc. So they had to do that. They're taking that. So they're trying to be all about merit without considering those things, right? But the admissions officers have been telling people on the low, make sure you mention in your essay that you are this, or this. Because we are still trying to do, engage in diversity and inclusion, and that's how you do it. You know what the executive order says? You can't do that. And that they cannot use any information that identifies someone by one of these oppressed identities. They said that schools will not be allowed to ask questions that may lead a student to answer in that way. So a question such as, what are some of the difficulties you experienced growing up or whatever? They think that that's a leading question that will have a student respond and say, well, I'm an African-American, I'm queer, blah, blah, blah. Nope, you can't ask no questions like that. This is what they're trying to do. And they're like, and they said, if you use any other indicators like name, that's illegal. You can't do that. Dr. H, that's how deep they're going.
Yeah, no. I mean,
that's how deep they're going.
If you're going to do a fascism,
we did enough.
You don't go half fascism.
No,
you don't go
they
quarter
going
fascism.
all in.
You got to go all in fascism. You got to ban whole words, ban whole groups of people. Don't let those people congregate because they might talk amongst themselves and plan a revolution. So if we could, let's just get them all the way out of it. And actually, if your college is accepting money from any donors just decide to give your college money and say they only want that to go to Black people, then no, you've done something illegal. You've accepted money for an illegal purpose.
It's now a crime.
It's now not necessarily now a crime, like in that sense that an executive order isn't itself the law. It
It's
is
not.
a
I'm saying
vision
if
of a
it
law.
were to become, that's what they're trying to make it.
Right,
They're trying to make it
That's where they
so.
want to go.
Yeah,
And
they can penalize an institution.
Right. That's their intent. Like I have to keep reminding myself, these are not laws. Like this still has to go through a process. He is acting as if he is a monarch, but he is not necessarily a monarch. Just because he decrees it does not mean it is now the law of the land. And I'm very frustrated with the number of universities. I mean, because I went on a whole rant about this in one of my groups on Sunday. Like, what if every university just said no? Like, no. We're going to figure it out for the next 4 years, but just no. Because if every one of them said no, at a certain point, what does the law mean? If everybody just says no to the guy? Because technically, I mean, democracy in name means the people are allowed to say no and what do you do? And also, let's just remember, America's bad at occupation. So is he going to roll tanks to every university and force them to not have?
Yes.
We don't have enough tanks. We can't occupy ourselves. We're actually really bad at that.
We do.
Do we?
Yeah.
Do we really have the military might we tell everybody to do?
We have a National Guard that was deployed on protesters in 2014, 15, 16.
In small groups. But I said if everybody, like if we had like a groundswell, I know everybody's not gonna, but like if 50% said no, is it gonna roll tanks in the universities to make sure that there aren't Black student unions?
So I like this, Stephanie. I think that this is actually another movement that we can have, that alumni write to these schools and say, we will stop funding you, right? Because so much of university money comes from alumni donations. Their endowments rely on alumni donations. And it takes small money, but also big money people to be like, if you cut these groups, you're not getting our money. That's what taking a stance is. That's what holding the line looks like, right? Do the people have, the right to do that? Do they have the will to do that, right?
Do they have the will? Yes.
But I also want to, I'll hold on to that. But it's just, actually, no. I have an example of the ridiculousness of these EOs. And since you were talking about how they're not laws. And I was talking about this in school today, with one of my class. So you may not be able to see this, but this was in court. Like, so the EO everybody knows that there's an executive order, and I'm just going to not share it because it's just annoying. Everybody knows there's an executive order trying to define that there's only two biological
genders.
Sexes,
two biological genders.
And they have to, it's
biology.
Male and female.
We're legislating biology. Legislating.
Yeah.
And then cutting it into a binary, like we really understand science.
So here's the thing. So here it is, everybody. I'm going to read this. So Judge Reyes, this is a really great thing. Judge Reyes says EO 14183 adopts the definitions of a separate executive order called defending women from gender ideology, extremism, and restoring biological truth.
Truth.
Dr. H, can you look up that EO, defending women from gender ideology, extremism, and restoring biological truth? Can you put that in the docket for me, please? Yeah, I know. To the federal government. And what that EO states, sex shall refer to an individual's immutable biological classification as either male or female. And it states that it is policy of the United States to recognize two sexes, male and female. Do you see that, or do you remember that? So Jason C. Lynch says, I will take the court's word for it. So Judge Reyes comes back, says, you understand, as a matter of biology, it's just incorrect that there are only two sexes, right? Lynch says, do I understand that to be incorrect as a biological matter? Reyes says, yes, it is incorrect as a biological matter. You understand that, right? Lynch says, I don't understand that to be incorrect. Judge Reyes says, you understand that not everyone has an XX or an XY chromosome, right? Lynch says, honestly, no, I don't. So Reyes says, it's actually kind of a really important point because this executive order is premised on an assertion that is not biologically correct. There are anywhere near about 30 different intersex examples. So someone who does not just have just XX or XY chromosomes is not just male or female. They're intersex. We have people with XXX chromosomes. We have androgen insensitivity, XY genetically, that may have female external sex characteristics and internally have testes. There are 5 alpha reductase deficiency that causes changes in testosterone metabolism. XY that may have female external genitalia or ambiguous genitalia. The point being, and I'm happy to have you guys brief this more if you want, but I'm telling you right now that there are people that are neither male or female. It should be nor female, but that's just me. And so the premise of the executive order is just incorrect. If you stayed with me through that whole thing, what you heard right there was the judge saying your EO is bullshit because it's biologically incorrect. It's based on an incorrect biological premise. This is how we win against them. We win by being smart. And the thing is that the judges have to have integrity. And we're relying on judges to have integrity. We also know that the more liberal judges are getting help, right? They've got clerks. They've got all these people that are scrambling right now. How can we beat this? Yes. And they're going to do it the right way because that EO, especially the ones about biological sex, are based on bullshit.
Yes.
So that EO is struck down, or it's kicked back because they're like, you can't determine that there's only 2 sexes when we know biologically there are not. And you can't say that your EO is based on biological determination when it's not true. Therefore, get the fuck out of my chambers. I was here for it.
You love to see it.
Here for it. You love to see that shit smack down. They keep smacking them down.
Yeah.
Because they're stupid. They're stupid.
They're also eliminating gender identity in that EO, by the way. You can't.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, hold on. You put it in there? Where is it? I don't say, did you put it in the docket?
I didn't put it in the docket. I can.
What?
Give me a
Chat,
second.
did I not ask him to put the
You told me to look it up. You
in
didn't say put it in the docket.
I did, chat. But who all heard me say, please put it in the docket? That's what happens when you don't listen. Why is he here, y'all?
ADHD people.
All right. So that was just an example of ridiculousness. All right, what are we talking about next? Oh, the EO. Oh, so basically, to sum it up, they gave them 14 days to get rid of DEI programming, or they risk losing federal funding. 14 days. Now, why?
Even though it is not officially a law yet.
It's not a law, and they do not have to comply.
It is illegal to remove federal funding that Congress has already allocated for that. That's the whole point of the power of the purse. So what are we even doing?
So that's why they're putting things on pause. They're saying it's pause pending further review. But that further review could take as long as they want, right? Anybody want to take a guess why they want this to be done within 14 days? Anybody?
I don't know.
Anxious like me right now? What am I anxious about, folks? What's currently occupying so much of my energy?
College admissions.
There we go. There we go. Most schools start dropping their admissions March 15th. A lot of schools are on a rolling basis. So they take students as they come. But a lot of them that are doing regular decision, and that's schools everywhere. We're waiting to hear from Morehouse the same way we're waiting to hear from Penn, right? They start dropping acceptances and rejections on March 15th. Okay.
Yeah, no, that'd be right.
So they want them to have this shit wrapped up before you accept these people.
Keep those brown people out of college.
Yep. So it needs to happen.
What's annoying is the numbers of brown people in college are already so low. It's not like we make up even 40% of any college. What? Unless you're talking specifically STEM graduate degrees, where yes, then white people don't make up the numbers that they make up everywhere else. But like otherwise, no.
The only place we are the majority are the HBCUs. Right. And yes, so Charlie, you make an excellent point. And I just actually made this point in my class today. So what they're doing, it's a psyop. They've convinced their racist base. They know their base is extremely racist and xenophobic. So they convinced their base that DEI is all about giving Black and brown people advantages, and they don't include Asians in it. Mind you, they do not talk about Asian students.
They don't.
They know because they know they manipulated them into the affirmative action thing. They couldn't let it be a white person. Like that white girl, Abby, and it didn't work because they hate women too. It had to be students that were male and not white. And so they got Asian students to be a pawn. Okay. Mm-hmm. And Asian students are not wrong. Here's why they're not wrong. You gotta hear me out. Hear me out. If we're talking merit, if we're just talking straight merit, which has never been anybody's consideration because they consider well-rounded students. They want to see grades. They also want to see that you can socialize. Maybe you have some leadership, community service, things like that. If they got rid of all of that and only focused on grades and scores, I hate to tell y'all this, but the majority of United States elite schools would be largely Asian. Majority
white people ain't cutting it.
White people are not cutting it.
Not cutting
white
the mustard.
Male students especially are doing
not cutting the mustard
in school.
Yeah,
they would not make it. So racial preference is the only reason, is the primary reason that white people even go to college, because they are shown that racial preference of whiteness, right? What? So the Asian students were not wrong in that regard. Now, the thing is that these schools, if they were to aim for parity, right, they'd all be 70% white, 4% Asian, 13% Black, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That's just trying to reach parity, right? That's when the tokenism and the quotas come in. That's not what they're trying to do, because at these schools, Black students can't seem to get past 5%. They won't budge on it, right?
Well, why would you let more than that in, to be honest? And
I've got my whole rant about that.
Yeah.
But if it was just about merit, white people would not be going.
They don't have the numbers.
So they're fighting for this, and they convinced them that the reason they can't get into these schools is because Black and brown people are taking their spots.
Those 5%. That 5% is a lot of spots.
That takes your spots, right? But the reality, and I'm glad that that was brought up, is that they don't want the women in college. They know that DEI benefits white women the most. They know this. They're not stupid. Okay. They need women, they need white women to stop going to college because they need them to be home having babies. Every time I get on here, I tell y'all all of this is because they need white babies to be born. Okay.
I mean, there's not enough of them.
When white women go to college, they are less likely to have children, or they have children at later dates, or whatever the situation is. They're less likely to get married, whatever situation. Or they'll have one, maybe two. Uneducated, white women who are not college educated, I'm not going to say uneducated, not college educated, tend to have more children. White women that live in poverty tend to have more children.
Yes.
So if they can get rid of DEI, they know they can get rid of gender-based considerations. And if they do that, because white women have been earning more degrees than white men for the last 25 years, if they can get rid of that, they can get them back in the home having babies.
They've been thinking too highly of themselves. I mean, to be honest, all these women out here achieving things, make enough money that they don't. I mean, let's go back to when they couldn't get checkbooks. Let's go back to when they couldn't have their own. The year
I was born, they finally got credit.
Yeah. I mean, come on. Why they got bank accounts? It's ruining the country. The economy is going to be in shambles.
I'm telling you, everything that they're doing, all of these executive orders, are to make sure that DEI is canceled so that white women get their asses back in bed and start taking this nut to the cervix.
What's so fascinating about it if I step back and look at it like purely objectively, like, man, I always knew conservatism was about the look at it like the alien in my head looks at things sometimes, and like, I'm not a human being affected by this. But when I look at humanity, man, what the fuck, right? Like I've always known that conservatism was about like this nebulous, we want 1950s values. But I also thought like maybe we had out-tracked it, but no, it's still within the human animal, the American animal, to want to go as far back as we can to a less advanced society and to bring back all of these, like, it's so like, oh no, these are the tropes of this idealistic, baby boomer generation, 2-parent household. I didn't see a brown person for miles. It wasn't working for me environment. And the idea that this administration can go full mask off and just say, that's what we want. And that people on a side are like, absolutely, this sounds like I'll get more from this, as opposed to I will also be oppressed by this, because it's still an oligarchy. It's still,
I just need people to fundamentally understand that the attacks, like, I know people, the racism is there. I know the racism is there. But understand that racism is an output of patriarchy, right? They get rid of DEI, they get the white women out. And I fundamentally believe that is their primary target, because we don't have the numbers, y'all. This is the United States. We do not have the numbers. Black people are not even 15% of the population.
Yeah.
Okay.
But also,
the so-called Hispanic are Black, white, and etc. They're also, their overlap is there. So they'll say, oh yeah, it's 14% Hispanic. That includes the Black and white people. So even as a group, they're not even that big. Right.
I mean, here's the problem with, somebody said they're building a labor force. Here's the problem. Like, America's not even really producing jobs for an uneducated labor force. That's the nutty part. Like, what happens if you make millions of people jobless when you don't have an industry base like you did before? So what are they supposed to do? Like, what do you think they'll do besides trying to, burn it all down because they'll have nothing left? Like, what do you think you're building here?
So the America First agenda is really fascinating in that it's a slash and burn, cut off all our ties to the people that we import, right, from, to force American industry to create these things, except we don't have the conditions for everything. Why does 80% of our coffee beans come from Colombia? We do not have the conditions to grow the coffee beans here like that. We just don't. The exotic flowers that we have, the majority of them come from South America. We cannot grow exotic flowers here outside of Hawaii, maybe.
We're currently broadcasting this on Chinese and Japanese equipment. So
we don't have nothing. Our biggest export, in my opinion, is hip hop and rock and roll.
Right. Well, I mean, America's homegrown export is pop culture and music and entertainment. That's our primary. That's the one export we promote and we actually create is entertainment.
Yes, we are Hollywood.
Yep.
Popular music, right?
Right.
Cool.
Movies, Marvel movies, Disney.
I just said Hollywood.
America. Fuck yeah.
Mansplaining. You see how that goes?
Well, ladies, I mean, I don't know if you know this, but
anyway, can we talk about? Can we talk about President Elon and King Trump?
Yes.
What's going on with that?
What's going on with that? What have you done in the past few weeks, Dr. T? What have you accomplished? What have you accomplished?
So
for those who follow Dr. T,
I'm gonna take credit for this
on Threads.
I'm taking.
You should pat yourself on the back. I'm not there to do it, but pat yourself on the back.
I'm patting myself on the back, folks, because I started a major troll campaign that has affected the president of the United States. When I tell you I'm good at this shit, I'm telling you I am good at this shit.
Mean,
okay,
you might know a little bit.
Now, again, I grew up in New York. I grew up with Trump being ridiculed in the newspapers all the time. They were always clowning him. Remember, we talked about this. Him running for president, all those bullshit times was just for show and fanfare. The Apprentice was a redemption thing for him because he was New York's
merchandise money. Make some merchandise money.
Absolutely. So when he ran for president the first time, we all know, we heard the stories about how upset he was that he won. He didn't really want to be president or whatever. His arrogance and his ego is why they couldn't do much with Project 2021. Oh, what was it? 2016, Project 2016 or whatever, 2017. They couldn't do much because his ego is so big and his narcissism is so deep that he don't want people telling him what to do. He kept firing all the people that were just like, president, we need you to do this. We need you to do that. He would just fire them, right?
Yeah.
Or the people that held him accountable.
You don't tell me what to do.
Exactly. So that's why they didn't get far the first time. But now that he is a convicted felon, he also lost these civil suits where he owes hundreds of millions of dollars to the state of New York and to, and these things. He needs money. So he let them buy him, right? And so now they can control him. And now they're very much like, well, we're going to bring in this rich guy, the richest guy in the world, to be your handler. Yeah, to be your puppeteer.
I mean, to do the job. To do the job.
The job that we were trying to do before. And remember, COVID came and kind of thwarted things as well.
Knocked over the buildings,
So we're, that's what they're like, now we got you. You owe us. And remember, I posted my theory that that Elon Musk bought Trump's debt, right? Yeah. Because
he bailed out the campaign for sure.
Donald Trump owes 1.8. Yeah, Donald Trump owes $1.8 billion. That's how deep in debt he is. For Elon, that's the equivalent of having $383 and giving someone $1.80. Okay. So I think that he bought his or promised to buy his debt in exchange for this very quid pro quo, but also now I own you, right? And
Trump was flagging during the primaries so he was losing popularity until some stuff popped off. And maybe it was a cash injection from Elon Musk. Like, Elon Musk wasn't on the campaign for the entire time.
No,
but once he did, suddenly we're seeing a rise in
Trump when Elon came on the campaign? When they switched to Kamala. They were very scared because they knew Biden was tanked. They played up the debate thing or whatever. The Democrats fell into that shit too. It's just the dumbest shit ever. When Kamala came on the scene and got that injection of energy, and then they announced walls and got that injection of energy, here comes Elon Musk. They felt that they were going to lose. So here comes Elon Musk, who has essentially bragged about rigging the election. He's bragged about
the fact that he was probably going to be arrested if Trump didn't win. Like
exactly.
Joked about it was going to be bad for him, and so immediately went to the job of killing all the sheriffs in town, because that's what you do when you take over the town. You make sure you have no opposition.
Right. And so he comes in, and they knew that he had a tech bro cult, right? There is a cult of Elon Musk, and so they knew that would rev up that base. Right. So that's when Elon comes on the scene. So that's my theory, is that he bought his debt or whatever. But now they can get Project 2025 going. Right. And so I knew that his narcissism was going to be so huge that he can't handle people saying that anyone else is in charge but him. He wants to be in charge. He wants the power. He wants to be able to control the narrative. And Elon Musk coming in, and he sunned him. He went in the Oval Office and sunned him. Let me see if I can find this. Why don't you talk a little bit while I try to find this, please?
So Elon, under the guise of Doge, a department they made up without ever going to Congress and saying, we'd like money to do this thing, which is what you're supposed to do when you create things that affect the government. You got to actually go to the government and ask. You're supposed to. That's how it's supposed to work. That's how I was taught the government worked. And Elon, under the guise of Doge, brought in his code monkeys, and they just immediately went to making cuts. And because so much of the MAGA base is looking for change in Washington, Trump had already promised them to drain the swamp. And even though Trump raised the debt ceiling and spent more money than any other president in history, they still believe that he could be an architect of change the second time. So much of his base is actually happy that there have been so many cuts, because it's the work they sent them there to do. Drain the corruption. And what's so interesting about it is Elon Musk, acceptor of millions of dollars from the government, is allowed
billions.
To determine.
No, billions. Don't say millions.
Billions. I'm sorry. Billions. Just like Doge, I'm making a mistake on what's in a million or a billion.
Right.
So,
all right. So let's check this out. Let's listen to this. Let's watch this real quick.
Go ahead.
You know that they're working on Doge together, saving us a lot of money. They're saying, what, $55
and they keep using the talking point. They're saving us so much money. They're saving
$55 billion they have saved so far, and that's just been in the first month. Here's a portion of that interview.
I think the way to think of me is like I'm a technologist, and I try to make technologies that improve the world and make life better. Yeah, and that's why I like my T-shirt says tech support, because I'm here to provide the president with technology support. And now that may seem like, well, is that a silly thing? But actually, it's a very important thing, because the president will make these executive orders, which are very sensible and good for the country. but then they don't get implemented. One of the biggest functions of the Doge team is just making sure that the presidential executive orders are actually carried out. And this is, I just want to point out, this is a very important thing because the president is the elected representative of the people. So he's representing the will of the people. And if the bureaucracy is fighting the will of the people and preventing the president from implementing what the people want, then what we live in is a bureaucracy and not a democracy.
So this is all bullshit. We know this is all bullshit, right?
Yes.
They keep dropping this idea. Well, the people wanted this. The people wanted this. So that way they're putting the blame for everything that's happening. It's not us. It's what you all wanted, right?
Yeah.
You
if he was voted in.
Beautiful executive, and you sign it, and you assume it's going to be done, but it's not. What he does is he takes it, and with his 100 geniuses, he's got some very brilliant young people.
Pay close attention to this next part.
Dress much worse than him, actually.
Yeah,
they dress in just T-shirts. You wouldn't know they have 180 IQ.
Wait a minute. So what he's your tech support.
No, he is.
I actually
but he's
am
much
tech
more
support.
than that.
Yeah. I actually am tech support, though. But
he gets it done. He's a leader.
He is a leader. And, you know, his companies have...
Oh, shut up, Fox. Hold on, y'all. Let me find the other one. Anyway, further in this interview, they're asking him, like, how do you feel about people saying that he's... And they go into this... Yeah, calling him like President Musk and things like that. So they go into this whole back and forth where they're like, you know, talking about they want us to divorce. They're trying to divide us up. They're calling him President Musk. I was like, oh.
He's a leader of all the companies he bought with his parents' apartheid money. That's what he's a leader of.
Yeah.
Yes. So calling him President Musk, and he's trying to stomach the fact that they're calling him president. But if he's president and I call myself king, I'm higher than him, right? That makes me higher.
Because we've been calling Elon Musk King Elon.
Yeah.
Well, but also King Elon was the initial thing that we started with. We flooded them. You all community watching. I asked you. I put out the call. You all came. You all flooded the comments saying praise King Elon, specifically King Elon. And many of you were saying President Musk, et cetera, et cetera. But it really got to him. I'm telling you it did, because he addressed it in that interview and it started coming up in other things. It got to him. So they've been reiterating that it's President Trump. They've been showing him doing presidential things more. And we kept flooding. We kept, doing that. So then he comes and says that he's King Trump. Long live the king. And that was from the congestion pricing thing, right?
Yep.
Can you bring that up? Because I gotta pee.
Yes. I can't bring stuff up on the screen, but I can talk about it.
No, I mean, just talk about it. Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about it. Go ahead. Do your thing. New York City instituted congestion pricing because New York City is a city with way too many people in it and way too many vehicles. And as a way to combat that, they decided to start charging people so that they wouldn't come into the city and would use public transportation, which is excellent in New York City. You can get anywhere you want to go by bus or train or whatever. And so in doing so, they upset a lot of the business people who want to be able to use their cars in New York City and a lot of the people who want to have free mobility. And while I won't say it's the best policy ever, Trump, being a man of the people and the man of New York City and a populist, decided he was going to use another executive order to say that New York couldn't do congestion pricing. And while triumphing his desire for that not to be, he tweets. I'm sorry, it's not called tweeting because it was on Truth Social.
He
because
tweets.
He got himself kicked
we
off
don't honor. We don't. We It's call it a tweet.
He X'd out that I'm attacking congestion pricing. Long live the king.
Yeah.
Because
we've been calling him King Elon.
Right. And king is higher. King is higher than president. You want to just bask in it for a bit? Go ahead, do your dance.
Because guess what happens when you call yourself the king of the United States?
In America?
What is that called?
I don't know. Is treason the word?
Treason.
Is that the word?
Treason.
Is that called treason?
Bring it back to our consciousness.
Is it?
It is treason.
Is it treason?
We got the United States president to commit treason.
Is that a treason?
Wow. Friends.
If you write it down.
Chat.
It's one thing to say it. It's one thing to think it in your mind.
Family.
If you write it down, what if Obama had ever said, "Long live the king"?
Family. With
Would
your
they have
hard work?
Will we do a head on a pike? Would his head be on a pike? He wore a brown suit and they got mad.
The Crips and Bloods would unite to protect Obama. Okay, that would happen. But also,
he wore a brown suit and they got mad.
I'm just putting it out there.
Go ahead, bask in it.
Collective action.
My
vision and influence. You all coming through. Knew what I was doing. I knew what I was doing. We're still going to mess with them. We need to troll everything until they stop post. Because my original goal is to get them to not post as much. They started revving up the post though, because they were just like, "Oh, you can't catch us all." Yes, we can.
Yeah, we can be on the internet all day.
We absolutely can. We absolutely can. I'm not doing anything. Here I go. Okay. So it's really interesting to me that he does care that much. He is so simple-minded that he cares that much about what we say about him online. Okay.
He's a populist. Of course he cares.
Of course. So
love him, please. His dad never did.
Folks, keep up the good work. I have been shadow banned a bit. Okay. So we know that I've been shadow banned a bit. People on Threads have been reporting that they don't see me in their feeds anymore. You guys, I post several times a day. Like I post and so I'm here.
Do what I do. Go straight to her feed. Don't even go to the regular
feed. People, you can. I think there's alerts you can set from my Instagram. You can. I think you can do notifications on Threads to get notifications about people's their posts and things like that. So definitely set that up so you can see me. I know they don't do chronology in real time as good as some, maybe others, but that's how they are suppressing my stuff. They have flooded me with porn bots. I've shown examples of it. I never in my life that said that, seen as many as I started seeing. And so now it's like damn near everything that I post, it is flooded with porn bots. So they're trying to frustrate me and push me off the platform so that I get so frustrated that I don't want to post anymore. I'm going to keep posting.
Or that your followers don't want to read your stuff because it's filled.
Or that my followers don't want to read my stuff because they flooded the threads with the porn bots. Okay, all you got to do is just block them. I'm trying to hide. I spend so much time hiding them. Just keep boosting my stuff. I don't get paid on Threads like these other people that you guys keep falling into rage bait. I want you to stop doing that. That's a big deal. But anyway, I don't get paid for Threads, so you can just share my stuff and make sure that I'm showing up at people's timelines because I'm posting stuff. I'm giving us some guidance on things, and we're doing a really great job. We're putting a lot of pressure on them. Sometimes I won't post a post because it's already got 10,000 comments on it. So whatever. So I try to catch it early so that we can suppress things. If you go to the one, if you go to Instagram right now and you go, let me actually see if I can find it. So we're on Instagram here. Oh, I can't do it over there. But anyway, I the one with the DEI.
Yeah, DEI is dead under the Trump administration.
Can you find that and put the link for me, please?
Oh, if I do that.
Okay,
yeah,
no, that's fine. Don't worry about it.
I can do it.
Okay.
I got it.
So I want to show folks. Where'd you put it?
I was just afraid it was going to start talking.
I see it. Oh, no, you're good. You're good. Here we go. All right, folks. I'm going to show you this because this is important. Hold on. I'm going to, because I don't really need to hear what he has to say, actually.
Right. That's what I was worried about when I clicked it. It was going to start
talking. I don't care. Okay.
Has been a phenomenal first 30 days serving in the Trump-Vance administration. We have been winning for the American people. Winning. As an example, DEI at HUD is dead. It's gone.
DEI is dead at the DA. DEI is dead at the EPA.
We've killed DEI at the Department of Energy. We're bringing meritocracy, the American way back.
DEI will never die.
That we took was to take down the Biden era equal access rule with President Trump's leadership to ensure that biological truth is restored back at HUD as it pertains to HUD-funded facilities.
I don't want to hear
biological truth.
Biological truth, right? So I'm just showing you, this is what it looks like, folks. DEI will never die. DEI will never die. DEI will never die. Like, how beautiful is that, right? That is wonderful collective action. And so what I'm trying to do is get, you get everybody on board, because it ends up suppressing the other ones. And that's what people see when they go there, and they hate it. They can't delete the comments though, and they can't close their comment. It is a government account. They can't do that. They can't shut off, right? Because that's stifling free speech, right? So keep it up, y'all. Keep it up. But that last one, when I go on there, all I see is the coon one. Oh God, that's great. All right, what else? Did we cover everything? Oh, we talked about the firing the rollbacks.
Yes, the firing rollback. So over the weekend, they fired people that covered our nuclear stockpile and realized they couldn't, they probably shouldn't do that. You probably need somebody securing that stuff. They fired USDA workers while we're in the middle of a bird flu epidemic and are rolling back some of those firings. So
you heard Turkey is sending us eggs.
Are they?
Yeah, so Biden was working on a deal with Turkey for them to ship over like 100,000 things of eggs.
Are they going to take those eggs because that was Biden's, or are they going to take them and say this is our eggs the whole time we were here with you?
No, they're already claiming it. They're already claiming it.
Okay.
They're already claiming that.
Well, whatever wins you can get. So yeah, they're going to fire 7,000 people at the IRS beginning Thursday when it's about to be tax season. So it's going to take a while for your returns to come back around.
Maybe they start leaving me alone because I ain't paying them.
Maybe they'll be using AI to do your returns. That's okay. AI can handle your tax returns.
I'm on my Wesley Snipes
AI systems.
I'm on my Wesley Snipes.
Okay, you're out there. Okay, so the thing about being a Wesley Snipes is when they come and find you, don't also say I'm still not paying. Like that was Wesley's mistake. If he had just broke them off, he'd have been fine. But he was like, nah.
There's principalities in this.
I don't believe this exists.
It's the principle of things. It's principalities.
I run my own business, so I gotta pay a man so he will leave my business. Yeah, I get it. You should stand on your principles. I'm gonna throw a little bit of money, as little money as I can, at the government so they'll leave me alone. They're gonna fire some people from HUD. 963 people, or at least. No, I'm sorry. They're gonna go from 963 staffers to 150 staffers. So 84% of HUD's workforce is going to be cut. Department of Defense is going to cut some people, which I've always asked for Department of Defense to cut.
They're cutting their budget.
5,200 probationary employees.
Hello, do you just not hear me? Like I'll be talking and you just keep going. You don't hear me?
I can hear you.
You just don't want to stop talking.
I hear you.
I can cut you off on my show.
I just finished my thought.
Yeah, that's that ADHD.
You can.
Huh?
It's your show.
It's the ADHD. You got to finish the thought.
It's the ADHD. My bad. Are we on delay? We might be on a delay right now.
We might be on a delay. Because I'll be talking.
See, yep, and because you just caught up with me. I said,
huh? Oh,
finishing my thought.
That's what it is. That's what it is. Okay, so we're on a little bit of a delay. Oh, that sucks. Well, anyway. I wanted to address what Maxine said. She said, I'm hesitant to file this year. See, it's delayed, y'all. Y'all hear it? Yeah. Because what is he doing? Anyway, just count to 2 before you start talking. That's what I'm thinking. Okay. So I've been telling people to hold out. Don't give them any money. Why? Because they were talking about Elon only being there for like 3 months or something like that. So whatever damage is being done, I would say if you owe money, wait until the very last minute, right? If you're going to pay it, put your money aside and wait until the very last minute before you send it in. If you are getting a return, I don't know, you might not be getting, unless you got it already, I wouldn't imagine getting my return very quickly because they just fired all those people that are processing. But similarly, if you owe taxes, that's fewer people that'll be coming after you. So I'm just saying, like, who's gonna know? Who's gonna know? I think they're gonna extend the deadline because they're low in workers. So I think that's what's gonna happen. So anyway, and I want everybody to change their thing to exempt. Exempt means you get all your money during the year. You don't pay no taxes during the year. that would cripple the United States economy like that. I think just even 3 months of people being exempt would crash the United States economy or get them to immediately move to be like, all right, we're sorry. We need your tax revenue. Am I wrong for thinking? Am I crazy? Am I high? What do y'all think, chat? Because I'm trying, how much do they get per month in revenue, in tax revenue? Like, if we could organize something like that, where like people just were like, I'm exempt, and for 3 months get all your money, no taxes paid, and you can kind of put it aside, if you wanted to kind of work that out and kind of put it aside in case it gets reinstated or whatever. But imagine what would happen after 3 months of the federal government losing tax revenue from like hundreds of millions of Americans.
Might have an impact. Hey, did we catch up?
I don't know.
At
the end of the day, at the end of the day, money is it. That is everything. This economy is everything in the United States. They do not care about people. They don't care about oppression. They don't care about none of this shit. It's all about money. So you got to hit them in the pockets, right? That's why Target just got sued from their investors, because they lost a lot of money because Target was racist. You hit them in the pockets. How do we do that? Yeah, no, that's the thing. It's like, how do we get enough of a groundswell of a movement to get everybody to go exempt and withhold their money? Then I feel like they would immediately move to get an executive order saying that nobody's allowed to change their status. Like, that's...
Yep.
We just got to keep trying. The way that he's assaulting us with all these EOs and all this bullshit coming from all these different people, maybe we have to push it back. Maybe we just have to hit them and assault them.
Yeah.
Devin says money talks. It would definitely
I'm for the
have an
offensive.
impact. And he said they're going to crash the world economy either way, though, y'all. No, you're absolutely correct. You're absolutely correct. Okay.
Yeah. So you probably should be stockpiling. You're gonna need that little bit of cash.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. If you go exempt, I would say take all your money now. Y'all, we may not even have a country next year. So you won't even owe no money. Get all your money now. Now, I'm primarily I'm primarily a freelancer. Since I've started teaching, though, I get W-2s from them. But a lot of my work is freelance work. And so I get the whole thing. And I have to try to be responsible and take the money and put it aside in case I need to pay my taxes, right? Don't ask the IRS how much I owe. They ain't gonna have nobody there to figure it out anyway. But whatever. Get all your money now. Get all your money now. That's all I'm going to say. Get all your money now. Change your W-4 to exempt. It's W-4, right?
Yes.
Okay. So that was a 3-second delay, by the way. So anyway, unless you were just being ADHD slow.
No.
All right. Well, that's pretty much it. Did you have anything else that's coming up? I
think we've covered it all.
Okay. How do you change your status? Let me get that real quick. No, you got to change your W-4, right? It's your W-4, and that's where you end up. You'll put in like head of household, your dependents, and things like that. A lot of people will have like 2 exemptions or whatever. Blah blah blah. Make it 0. Get all your money now.
But you better hold it. Hold something.
Gotta hold it. But here's the thing. Here's why it's a good tactic.
Is the holding.
So if you do exempt, right? Say you make $4,000 a month, and that's $2,000 every 2 weeks. Now you probably right now taking home maybe $1,400, right? What think about that extra $600 from each check. Take that money and put it aside, because if the whole tax thing blows up, you still have a nest egg you've built.
Yeah.
Right. So that's $1,200 a month. It's $1,200 a month of a nest egg that you would have built over not paying the taxes.
Yes. And how you do that is you make an account that is separate from your main account that you can't see, because seeing the money is how you break
Seeing
yourself.
the money, yep, exactly.
Yeah. So you can either hide it in your app or make the
Put
account
it in a
a
kid's
different
name.
bank.
Get an account at a different bank in your kid's name.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if your exemptions are set at 0, that's why you usually owe, because they're not taking anything out.
Yeah.
It's when you have multiple exemptions, like if you have
that,
3 or 4
that you end up overpaying your taxes.
and you get a better refund.
And then you get refunds back. And I stopped doing that even when I was getting, I stopped doing that, I think maybe around 2007. I was like, why am I giving y'all my money? I don't support what y'all are doing. I don't support these wars. I don't support none of this shit. I'd rather pay you. I'd rather pay you, you know, $5,000 in taxes than to get a $5,000 refund from you. Because that means I gave the government an interest-free loan throughout the entire year. Notice they are refunding you the money that they owe you.
They gave you, unless you do something and they're like, we ain't gonna give it back because
without interest. If you don't pay your child support, they're gonna take that. If you, you know, whatever. But they don't pay you interest.
Nope.
So you gave your money to the government, gave them a loan, and they giving the same exact dollar amount back to you.
That they know. That they already know the math. They just make you do the math and then tell them if they owe you, but they'll know exactly what you owe them. That's how it be.
So you just have to be disciplined and you have to be smart. And freelancers are definitely learning it. So I'm fighting the IRS because I've been double taxed. But yeah, no, you have to be smart. You have to be smart. You have to be disciplined with this, y'all. But I'm just saying, with the way things are going right now, the unpredictability of everything, we have to stop moving forward like this is normal. We have to act like, I think so many of us are acting like the United States will exist in December. So sure.
I mean, there might be an entity still calling itself the United States.
I don't think this country as we know it. Well, you know, it could possibly, but I think the assumption,
at this rate,
I think a lot of people are moving with this assumption that everything is going to be normal a year from now. And I'm like, if y'all don't see the writing on the wall, and I'm telling you this, it's not going to be governmental shit. It's going to be civil shit. These these people. Hold on. These OFAs are preparing for a racial war. Forget queer people, forget trans people, forget disabled people. Their biggest fear is a race war. And these crackers are out here stockpiling guns, stockpiling ammo, ready to bring it. They are waiting for Trump to just give them a fucking hand signal to go ahead and do it. I bet you if he had done that Nazi salute instead of Elon, we would have seen more shit popping off.
Would have popped off. Yeah.
But we're seeing more stuff on social media. They are starting to treat people horribly. They're getting in people's faces. They are attacking people more, and they don't even care that you're recording them. So that's where I think this is all going to happen. It's going to happen in the streets.
Yeah. The police give them an escort.
They sure do.
Yeah.
They sure
help you go find your service dog.
They sure do.
Make sure, take off your mask. Get in a regular shirt so no one sees that you're riding with me as a neo-Nazi. Yeah.
So they had the North, they had the Union Army, they had the Southern Confederate Army. We are going to see this taken out in the streets. And this is why I keep telling everybody, please prepare. Go take some self-defense classes. Get you a firearm. Get you a weapon. If you need a cutlass, a machete, go get it. Like, you need to have something. And I'm telling y'all, this is not my tinfoil hat on. This is me, a doctor of African-American history. This is a doctor who understands American history. Okay? Yes. I know where this is going. We've been here before. Okay? During the Reconstruction, we've been here before. These people are trying their best to hold on to the power that they have, and they will use their lower class pawns who have nothing to lose. Them dudes, all the people that went to J6 to storm the Capitol as part of J6, and that they found had records, okay, had warrants and shit. They still went. They still knew that people would see them, and they still needed to be there. They didn't care. So we're dealing with people that are willing to risk it all. They don't care. We gotta be like that. we got to be willing to risk it all on our side. And we got to be ready. We got to be prepared for how they are going to come at us. You got a disabled child, you got a queer child, they're going to come for you. Why? Because they know you're going to be weakened, quote unquote, weakened by caring for them. Easy to take over. Prepare yourself. I've had a lot of people say that they don't want to have a firearm in their house because of suicidal ideation. And I'm not saying this to like make anybody feel any kind of way. I have perpetual suicidal ideation, and so I understand that. But the one thing that I think about this, and trigger warning for anybody, I'm going to talk about, this thing you can
speaking on
for a little
SI.
bit. Yes. I would not want my son to find me with such a mess. Like that's how it works for me in my brain. Like there's that whole, I'm not going to blow my brains out because I don't want anybody who loves me to come and see that traumatizingly, right? However, you also can build community, and if you're feeling a certain way, tell them people, please come get my pieces. I have had to go get for an ex of mine who was having an episode. I had to go and get his guns out of his house and bring them into mine. That's what we do for each other.
Yeah.
But on the times when you're up and you're good, you're gonna wish you had that piece in that house. Okay, put it in a safe, all that kind of stuff, right? But if you absolutely feel like you can't do it, then don't do it. I'm not like trying to pressure you, but I'm just trying to get the conversation that is out there. Like get a machete, right? So underneath my bed, and I don't think my boyfriend knows this, but underneath my bed, I have a large machete under my bed. I have actually a sword under my bed, and it's got a nice purple shield and everything. And so in the event that I need it, I can reach right under my bed and you can slice somebody's head off with it. It's pretty awesome. So
pretty awesome.
And I only said that because I know he's watching. So, but so whatever you got,
arm yourself.
Please start getting ready, y'all. Start getting ready. You know what else you can do? I'm gonna go David and Goliath with it. Get some socks. Put some rocks in them bitches. The New York coming out. Dead batteries. Save your dead batteries and put them in a sock. Put them in a few socks. Tie that in, and you gotta. I'm just telling y'all. I'm not trying to be funny, but I'm just. You have to be ready.
Be prepared.
Because you saw how they stormed the Capitol. They absolutely will storm your house. Why? Because they're gonna run out of resources. They're gonna run out of eggs. They're not gonna be able to afford bread. They're not gonna be able to do anything. They're gonna come to your house to try to take it from you. And guess what they're gonna do? They're gonna show up with guns. You all love to read. You're all nerds. You done read everything. Well, have you read Parable of the Sower? Have you read The Hunger Games? Have you read 1984? Have you read The Handmaid's Tale? Like this is not dystopia anymore.
No, we're getting real close.
This was prediction, right?
Yeah.
These people, and Secret of Sugar Water, that is what my signature poem, The Secret of Sugar Water, you can find that on my YouTube. I did a reading of it. That is what my poem is about. And this was from 2017, y'all. This is what I said was going to happen. We're a little bit delayed. I think COVID threw things off, and that's how we got Biden back in. But I predicted that this is what would come under the Trump presidency.
You might have said it.
Maybe. People will turn on each other because they don't have resources. Okay? Y'all be going out shopping, making all these videos showing you buying eggs. Why are you putting that shit out there? Why are you making yourself a target? I'm not even trying to be funny. Like, eggs are so essential to so many things that people eat. People will come for you. And what you going to do when a family full of fucking racist ass crackers come up to your door with guns and you demand you open the door so they can come in and ransack your fridge? You ain't got nothing to protect yourself with? That's all I'm saying, y'all. That's all I'm saying. Get your shit ready. You got a front door by your closet? There's a shotty in my front door closet. Put your weapons in that damn closet.
It's not like they never did it before.
All the things that we think that people say that they don't expect the United States to do, they've already done these things.
There was a time. If you were a hungry white man, you can walk into a black man's house and just take his food.
Take whatever you wanted to take. And if the black man dare try to bring a charge, he'd probably catch a fine.
Or lynched. Get himself lynched.
He get himself lynched.
Which
he can come and take black man's food, a black man's wife. He can do whatever he wanted to
do. Yeah.
Children, this is the United States of America, everybody.
Lest we forget.
We have history to learn from. That's why, I think for me, why I get so frustrated in this moment is it's like those of us who know what happened are not doing enough to connect with the people who may be ignorant about these things, may not be empowered by these things, or may not even know what to do. They don't know what's coming. We got to make sure that we're kind of highlighting this stuff and connecting the dots. I do that in my my African American history class. I connect the dots for my students every time. We just finished talking about the Reconstruction, and we were talking about felony disenfranchisement that began during the Reconstruction to stop black men from voting, and they connected it to now. Like, this is all, we've already done that. Yes, felony disenfranchisement. This is why black men are more likely to get felonies when white men will get misdemeanors for the same exact crimes. It is to keep black men from voting. That began 150 years ago. So we have seen these things in play. We saw the concentration camps. They put the Japanese in. Now they got concentration camps down in Cuba.
Guantanamo Bay, baby.
We saw this. We know what they do.
I mean, if you're going to do a fascism, you got to do a whole fascism. It's been done before.
And we can talk about Stalin and Hitler and things. I'm like, we don't even have to go that far.
No.
We can stay right here with the United States presidents.
The originators.
They do. You're right. They think we're wearing tinfoil hats. And I'm like, you can think what you want. I know the truth. I called all of this in 2017. Y'all, I already said all of this was going to happen. So here we are.
Just needed a second term.
I've been preparing. I don't know about y'all. I've been preparing. I've been preparing. So, y'all, there's so much going on, and we're trying to keep up with it all the time. Thank you, Dr. Hall, for joining me today, because, this gets a little, I'm so busy. I'm so behind on so many things. But, we gotta come for the people. We gotta shout out our community. I want to thank you all for all your support that you have given me over this time, but also kind of when I put out an action, a direct action, something that we can do, something that it doesn't matter where you are. If you're able to use social media, you can do it. For heeding the call, right? Like, just whatever it is that you can do within your parameters, your capabilities, whatever, do it. Okay. We know that Donald Trump's weakness is his ego and his narcissism. If we keep hammering at that, he's going to react. He's been reacting. That time cover with the thing, did we get a picture of that?
We never put it up.
Oh, I didn't. Oh, live the king.
We talked about it. We never put it up.
Oh, we didn't put it up? Let me see.
King Trump.
Oh, yes. Let's look at this. Hold on.
Before we let go.
Before we let go. Wait, where's my screen? Okay, let's share. Let's look at that. Okay. So we see this picture, right? Trump, long live the king. A picture of him, an AI image of him with a crown on. Long live the king, right?
He posted it on his own page.
Posted on his own page. This after we've been calling Elon Musk King Elon Musk. I just want you all to see the impact that we have. I want you to see that we are getting to him, because that shit right there was stupid. But he posted on the social media pages calling himself the king. Okay? That's treasonous. We've moved him into this space where they're now like retaliating against our trolling by posting more and more egregious things every time. They're going to trip themselves up. They're going to get caught up, and their people are starting to turn on them. I don't know if y'all noticed this, but if you go to Facebook, for example, MAGA is not cool with some of this stuff. Some of them, of course, are going to have the diehards, but I've been seeing some folks be like, I voted for you, but this is messed up. I voted for you, but this is not fair. Like, I'm starting to see an uptick in those kinds of comments. Okay. I'm starting to see that. And so something is changing. Something is changing. At least for some. But all we need is a little ripple. All we need is a little ripple, right? So not only does the trolling get to him and his ego, it also boosts those posts so more people can come and see and kind of see the bullshit that's going on, right? But there's a lot of people, they starting to turn around. When I'm generous, I start doing some DEI education. I'll respond to them and I'll say, you know, veterans preference is DEI, ADA is DEI. Somebody was trying to tell me today that ADA is not part of DEI. And I was like, okay, well, that's part of the problem. That's why you guys don't get anything and you think Black and brown people are stealing your spots because you're actually stupid. And so because you're stupid, you can't get very far and you want to blame other people, but that's okay. So every now and then I'll be charitable and I'll, you know, have an exchange. But it's starting to get to them. And I think more because they're seeing their friends and family lose their federal jobs. So some of that is starting to raise some eyebrows a little bit. I'm on Truth Social. I just want you to know that the majority of the responses to Donald Trump's posts are bots. They're bots. I've paid attention.
You could appeal to his ego. For the
last 3 weeks, I've been closely watching Truth Social. And the majority of the responses to his posts are coming from automated bots. Okay. So there's a Russian farm somewhere, or, you know, they just busted one in Myanmar, whatever it is. They're creating those bots and those AI responses to all those kinds of things because the responses often have nothing to do with what he posted. They're usually just posting memes. They're posting memes that have nothing to do with what he said. So he doesn't even have that kind of social media support. You go on Facebook, you're going to see it more. But again, the tide is changing a bit, y'all. The tide is changing. Yes, you read the comments, you can see like they're because they're losing money. They're getting their, you know, they're feeling whatever benefits, feeling threatened. Jobs are being lost. People are being fired. Whole lives have been uprooted. And now they're like experiencing that. And so they're like, well, wait a minute, I did not vote for this. And because they're skeptical about that part, then they're raising their eyebrows. They're starting to raise their eyebrows about the other things, right? And so that's why we keep the information out there. That's why we keep letting people know that Doge is fudging the numbers, for example. They are definitely fudging the numbers. That whole thing came out where they said that they saved $8 billion on a contract where it said that the upper limit would be 8 million. And so they went back and actually changed the document to say 8 billion after they were called out. So it's hard
because it's political theater.
Yeah, it's all political theater.
Yeah.
It's all political theater, and
just
so
like political theater with Dr. T.
Just yes, and occasionally Dr. H. Yeah, I'm talking though. You
my apologies.
Want to talk? Have I been talking too long, Dr. H?
I'm just offering
on my show.
I was just offering.
Right. So they were doing some stuff and they were fudging the numbers and it became a whole thing. And so, you know, people are starting to raise their eyebrows. Then people are bringing up this idea of like, you know, the Republicans are saying, you know, we should redistribute that money back to the American people. You know, we're glad that you're finding all this corruption and waste, but let's get it back to the American people. Now, we know that's not going to happen. What's his name? I think it was Miller. Was it Miller who came out today? Or somebody else came out and was like, yeah, no, that we're not doing that. That's going to contribute to inflation. If we just give Americans money, it's going to contribute to inflation. So no, they've already let you know you're not getting any of that money that they claim that they're saving. They're fudging the numbers. So here's what happens. He can say that they found 8 billion and it was only 8 million. So that's 7 billion 999 or whatever amount of money that they can skim for themselves.
Sure.
And it's like,
and say it came from there. Yeah.
And say it came from there.
Yeah.
That's the hustle. They're inflating the numbers of these contracts. They're coming and saying, we saved 55 billion on this DEI thing. No, you didn't. The thing itself was probably only 5 million. But they're saying it's 55.
If they got there, right? 8 million over how long were they supposed to use the grant? So it might have been the early phase.
Yeah. So they're doing all of that, and that's what they're doing. Remember, at first I thought they were going to have a worm that was going to make its way through all their data and take a penny here, a penny there. I thought they were going to do that. Yeah. But they're actually just blatant about it. They're just like, we're making up the numbers. We're telling you that's what it is. And we're skimming it all off the top, and it's going to us. It's not going back to the American people.
We're saving. We're just saving. We're saving. Don't you want to see us save? We're saving the American people money.
We're getting rid of waste. We're saving.
Cut it. Cuts to save.
Hey, cuts.
You
everything.
Want to save?
Right. Yep. And we're not giving it to you, though.
Give it to Elon.
And so I'm telling you, that's where I think it's going to happen, because they already started. So I watch a lot of Fox News because I'm always trying to be plugged in. Everybody, that seed has been buried there too. That seed is churning too. Well, why aren't the American people getting the money back? Why aren't
That's why they're talking about them giving us $5,000 back.
Yes. And so that's starting. And so when they realize, if he keeps talking about how much money he has saved and people start doing the math, but they're not getting any money back, that's where I think they start to turn on the government. So there's that. So anyway, thanks y'all for being here. Thank you for supporting. I got a couple of Cash Apps and a couple of Venmos, so I really appreciate it. And it's always a good time with you all. With Political Theater with Dr. T. Like I said, we got a lot to usually come on cover. I want to come more often. I am though busy trying to teach the next generation of people. Dr. Hall, and you're a therapist, so you out here healing people. So we do what we can do. I'll hit him up and I'll be like, can you do it? Because I don't, if you're busy, so always, and I appreciate that he agrees. Yeah. Although sometimes I'm not sure why I asked. So
you had a good time. Look at us. We had a good time. So glad we could do this.
Okay. Well, we're going to go. Thanks, everybody. I'll see you next time. Same bat time, same bat channel. Bye.